The boy's face was turning blue, his small body convulsing on the festival grounds. Everyone stood frozen, but I knew the signs immediately. This wasn't a seizure. The expensive costume, the security men reaching for concealed weapons, none of it registered until later. All I saw was a child dying while adults stood helpless. I pushed through the crowd, shouting for space, my hand already digging in my bag for the emergency kit I always carried. The security men moved to block me, but the man holding the child, his eyes met mine. Dark, desperate, terrifying in their intensity. "Let her through," he commanded, and the wall of suits parted. If you want to know how I went from a medical school dropout to saving a mafia boss's only son, and why that single moment changed everything in my city, subscribe and comment where you're watching from. Each view helps bring more stories like this one. The grease stains on Olivia's scrubs wouldn't fade no matter how many times she washed them. She'd worked the morning shift at Lorenzo General's pharmacy, rushed home to shower, and now stood in her tiny bathroom, trying to look presentable for the Halloween festival booth she was required to staff. Her reflection showed the truth she tried to hide. Exhaustion carved into the shadows beneath her brown eyes, her dark hair pulled back in a practical ponytail. 28 years old, and she felt ancient. "Liv, have you seen my textbook?" Mia called from their shared living room. "Check under the couch," Olivia replied, applying minimal makeup. Her younger sister was in her final year of nursing school, the dream Olivia had abandoned 4 years ago when their parents' accident left her as Mia's sole guardian. The apartment was small, a one-bedroom with a pull-out couch where Olivia slept. The walls needed painting, the plumbing was temperamental, but the rent was manageable on her pharmacy technician salary. Barely. The October air carried the crispness of fallen leaves as Olivia walked to the city square. Orange and black decorations hung from every lamppost. A massive banner stretched across the entrance. Lorenzo Halloween Festival, proudly sponsored by Romano Enterprises. Olivia's cynicism battled with the genuine joy on children's faces. She found her assigned booth, a simple table with Lorenzo General Hospital free health screenings printed on a banner. Her colleague Frank was already there. "Heard the Romano kid is coming this year," Frank muttered. "First time in public since his mother died, apparently." "Can you blame him?" Olivia began organizing pamphlets. "The poor kid lost his mother." The commotion began at 4:37 exactly. Olivia would always remember checking her watch just before the first scream cut through the crowd. The crowd near the center plaza was backing away from something, voices rising in panic. "Watch the booth," she told Frank, already moving toward the disturbance. A small boy in an elaborate pirate costume lay on the ground, body jerking unnaturally. A tall man in an expensive suit crouched beside him, his face a mask of helpless terror. Security personnel formed a protective circle. "Let me through! I have medical training!" Olivia shouted. She could see the boy's face now, lips turning blue, skin taking on an unnatural flush. Not a seizure, not an allergic reaction. "That child has been poisoned," she said loudly. "Cyanide from the symptoms. He needs sodium thiosulfate immediately." "Let her through," the kneeling man ordered, his voice cutting through the chaos. Olivia dropped to her knees beside the boy, her mind racing through protocols she'd studied years ago. "What did he eat?" she demanded, already digging through her emergency kit. "Candy," the man, Victor Romano, she realized with a jolt, said hoarsely, "from the trick-or-treat trail." Olivia found what she needed, a small vial and syringe she kept for emergencies. "Hold him steady. This is sodium thiosulfate. It binds to the cyanide." The injection went in smoothly. Olivia monitored the boy's pulse, counting the seconds. The small body gradually stilled. His breathing, though shallow, steadied. His eyelids fluttered. "Marco," Victor breathed. "Can you hear me? It's Papa." The child's eyes opened, dark like his father's, but innocent, confused. They fixed on Olivia rather than Victor. A small hand reached out, grasping her wrist with surprising strength. "You're coming with us," Victor said to Olivia. Not a request. The ambulance screamed to a halt at the festival entrance. Within moments, they were loaded inside, the boy on the stretcher, Victor and Olivia seated beside him. "You recognized cyanide poisoning," Victor said. "How?" "I was in medical school," she replied, "before I had to drop out. The blue lips, the cherry red skin flush, the convulsions. Classic presentation." You saved him when my men couldn't. Victor's voice roughened. When I couldn't. The private wing of Lorenzo General occupied the entire top floor, the Romano wing, according to the plaque by the elevator. Marco was wheeled into a treatment room. Doctors swarmed around him. A doctor emerged from Marco's room, heading straight for Victor. He's stabilized, Mr. Romano. The quick administration of sodium thiosulfate likely saved his life. Will he recover completely? Olivia asked. We believe so. The police will want to speak with you. This was clearly intentional. When the doctor returned to Marco's room, Victor turned to Olivia. Name your price. She stared at him. Excuse me? For saving my son. Name your price. Olivia felt a flash of indignation. I didn't do it for money, Mr. Romano. I did it because it was right. Something shifted in his expression. Surprise, maybe respect. Nevertheless, I owe you a debt, and I always pay my debts. A nurse appeared from Marco's room. He's asking for her, she said to Victor, the woman who helped him. Victor's eyebrows rose slightly. My son hasn't spoken to anyone except me. In nearly 2 years, not since his mother died. The words hung between them. Would you mind? Olivia nodded, following the nurse into Marco's room. The boy looked small against the hospital bed. Monitors beeped steadily around him, an IV dripping fluids into his arm. Hello there, Olivia said softly. How are you feeling, Captain? Marco's eyes found hers. You made the hurting stop, he whispered. Are you a doctor? Not exactly. She leaned closer. But I know a lot about medicine. Marco reached for her hand, his small fingers wrapping around hers. Don't go, he murmured, eyes already drooping from the medication. The bad people might come back. They got through before. Marco's voice faded as he drifted toward sleep. They took Mama. Olivia sat frozen. She looked up to find Victor standing in the doorway, his face unreadable. He hasn't mentioned her in months, he said quietly. Not since the funeral. The police think whoever poisoned the candy was targeting you, she said finally. They're right. Victor moved to the other side of Marco's bed. And they were willing to kill a child to hurt me. His voice hardened. They won't get a second chance. I should get home. My sister will be worried. He nodded. Anthony has a car waiting. 2 of my men will take you home and remain outside your building tonight. He hesitated. I would consider it a personal favor if you would visit Marco again tomorrow. He responds to you. The request surprised her. I have a shift at the pharmacy in the morning. You've been given a week's paid leave, Victor interrupted. The hospital administrator was quite accommodating when I called him. The next morning brought another surprise. A delivery man arrived with an envelope addressed to Olivia. Inside was a cashier's check for $50,000 and a handwritten note. A token of appreciation. Non-negotiable. VR. Mia gasped when she saw the amount. Oh my God, Liv. That would cover my tuition for the rest of the program and your student loans. The promised car arrived at 2 o'clock. Victor met her at the elevator. You got my token? He asked without preamble. Yes, Olivia said stiffly. It's too much. I can't accept it. Victor studied her. Most people in this city would rob their own grandmother for half that amount. I'm not most people. Clearly, something like respect flashed in his eyes. Keep it anyway. Your sister's education, perhaps. Olivia stared at him. How do you know about my sister? I know about everyone who comes into my family's orbit, he replied. Olivia Carson, 28, former medical student, dropped out after your parents died to support your younger sister. Working 2 jobs while carrying student debt for a degree you never finished. He paused. Impressive dedication. You had me investigated? Of course, he said simply. You saved my son's life. I needed to know who you were. Miss Olivia, Marco called from down the hallway. Papa says you're coming to our house. When they let me leave the hospital, Marco announced. Olivia froze, looking at Victor sharply. That's the first I'm hearing of it. The police believe whoever targeted Marco may try again. Our home has the highest security in the city. I'm not moving into your house, Olivia said flatly. I have my own life. A life that now includes being a target, Victor countered. They'll assume you can identify them. You and your sister both need protection. Olivia's blood ran cold. She hadn't considered that Mia might be in danger. 2 days, just until things are safe. Later, as Olivia was preparing to leave, she overheard Anthony speaking to another security man near the elevator. Surveillance confirmed it. The Castellano family's behind this. Their chemist was seen near the festival grounds. Are we moving against them tonight? Boss wants confirmation first, but yes, we're preparing. Tell the men to be ready. Olivia felt a chill run through her. This was the reality of Victor Romano's world, violence and retribution, and she had just agreed to step directly into it. The Romano estate stood on the outskirts of Lorenzo, surrounded by 20 acres of manicured grounds. Olivia sat in the back of Victor's Mercedes, Mia beside her, both sisters silent as they passed through the imposing iron gates. Marco had fallen asleep during the drive from the hospital, his small head resting against his father's shoulder. "Holy shit," Mia whispered, staring at the mansion that appeared around the curve of the driveway. An older woman, Mrs. Abelli, the housekeeper, greeted them at the door. Despite Victor's suggestion that the nanny take Marco, Olivia noticed the boy's grip tightening on his father's suit. "I can get him settled," she offered, "if you show me to his room." Victor looked surprised but nodded. "Second floor, east wing. Mrs. Abelli will show you." Marco's bedroom was exactly what you'd expect for the heir to a fortune, a pirate-themed wonderland with a custom-built ship bed, detailed murals, and more toys than a department store. "You have a beautiful room, Captain," Olivia said as she helped the drowsy boy change into pajamas. "Mama painted the stars," Marco pointed to the ceiling, where constellations glowed in the dimming light. "She said they would watch over me." Olivia's throat tightened. "They're still watching, even when you can't see them." When Marco finally drifted to sleep, Olivia found Victor waiting in the hallway, his expression unreadable. "He lets you put him to bed," he said. "He usually fights it." "Children need routine after trauma," Olivia replied. "It makes them feel safe." "That's what the child psychologist said." Marco wouldn't let him through the door. Victor gestured toward the staircase. "Your sister is settled in the blue suite. Yours is adjacent. I have matters to attend to, but dinner is at 7. The blue suite was larger than Olivia's entire apartment, with a bathroom the size of her living room. Mia was already exploring her own matching quarters, wide-eyed at the luxury. "This is insane," Mia whispered when they were alone. "Do you know what people say about him? About what his family does?" "I know what people say," Olivia replied, "but right now, he's just a father trying to protect his son." "And what about tonight?" Mia pressed. "I overheard the security guys talking about some operation. They're going after whoever poisoned the kid." Olivia frowned. "You shouldn't listen to Miss Carson," a voice interrupted. Anthony Vega stood in the doorway. "Mr. Romano requests your presence in his study." Victor's study occupied a corner of the mansion's first floor, dark wood paneling, leather-bound books, and a wall of security monitors. He stood when she entered, dismissing Anthony with a nod. "My men identified the person who doctored the candy," he said without preamble. "A chemist employed by the Castellano family." "The police should handle this," Olivia said immediately. "The police are compromised. The Castellanos have 3 captains on their payroll." Victor's voice was cold. "This is how Lorenzo works, Olivia. Surely you know that." "So what happens now? You just—" She couldn't finish the sentence. "Justice happens." He studied her face. "You disapprove." "Of course I disapprove. I'm a medical professional. I preserve life. And I protect my family." Victor stepped closer. "They tried to kill my 7-year-old son, Olivia. What would you have me do?" Before she could answer, the door opened. Anthony entered, his expression grim. "We have confirmation, boss, and something else. Someone talking about the woman who intervened. They're looking for her." Olivia's blood ran cold. Victor's eyes darkened dangerously. "Change of plans," he said sharply. "Double security here. No one moves against the Castellanos until I return." His gaze fixed on Olivia. "Stay inside. Keep Marco close." "Where are you going?" she asked. "To ensure no one touches a hair on your head. Ever." His voice was deadly quiet. "Or your sister's." After he left, Olivia paced the mansion, anxiety building. She found Marco in his playroom with the nanny, looking small and vulnerable despite his surroundings. "Miss Olivia," his face brightened, "will you play pirates with me?" She spent the next hour building block fortresses and sailing imaginary seas, trying to push aside thoughts of what Victor might be doing. When Marco tired, She read him stories until he fell asleep beside her on the playroom sofa. The mansion remained unnaturally quiet. Security personnel moved with increased vigilance. Even the staff seemed tense. "Where's Mr. Romano?" Olivia finally asked Mrs. Abelli as dinner time approached. The older woman's eyes flickered with something, concern perhaps. "Handling business, dear. He said not to wait." Olivia was tucking Marco into his proper bed when her phone rang, an unknown number. "Ms. Carson? This is Detective Ramirez, Lorenzo PD. We need to speak with you about the incident at the festival." "Of course," she replied. "Tomorrow at the station." "Actually, we'd like to come to you now. It's urgent. Can you meet us at the gate? Mr. Romano's security won't let us through without you." Something felt wrong. "How did you get this number?" "Hospital records. Please, Ms. Carson, it's important." Olivia hesitated. "Let me call you back from the house phone." She hung up and immediately dialed the police station's listed number. "Detective Ramirez, please." "No detective by that name here, ma'am." Her heart pounded as she hurried to find Anthony. Before she could, the mansion's security system blared. Red lights flashed in the hallways. "Perimeter breach!" a guard shouted, running past her. "East quadrant!" Olivia raced back to Marco's room, finding him awake and frightened. "What's happening?" he whimpered. "Just a drill," she lied, gathering him into her arms. "Let's go find Mia and play a game." She carried Marco toward the blue suites, security personnel rushing in all directions. Gunshots echoed outside. Marco buried his face against her neck, trembling. Mia met them in the hallway, face pale with fear. "What's happening?" "Stay inside," Olivia ordered, ushering them both into Mia's suite. "Lock the door behind me." "Where are you going?" Mia grabbed her arm. "To find out what's happening." Olivia pulled away. "Take care of Marco." She made it halfway down the main staircase when the front doors burst open. Victor strode in, blood splattered across his suit. Behind him, his men dragged in two bound figures. Olivia froze on the stairs, unable to look away. Victor's eyes found hers, cold, deadly, yet somehow still haunted. "It's done," he said simply. "You're safe now, both of you." 3 days later, Olivia stood in her apartment, surveying the familiar but now somehow foreign space. Victor's security team had returned them home after the incident, as everyone carefully called it. She hadn't asked what happened to the men who breached the estate. She didn't want to know. "Everything feels different," Mia said, dropping onto the couch. "Smaller," Olivia nodded. 3 days at the Romano estate had shifted something in both of them. "We go back to normal now." Her phone buzzed. Victor. She'd tried to return his check before leaving. He'd refused. "How's Marco?" she answered. "Asking for you," Victor replied. "He won't eat his vegetables unless Miss Olivia approves." Despite everything, she smiled. "Tell him carrots make your eyes stronger for spotting enemy ships." "I need a favor," Victor continued. "Marco's school is having a health fair next week. They asked for medical professionals to speak. He's insisting on you." "Victor, I can't just—" "Please." That word again, still awkward on his tongue. "He's finally engaging. The therapist says your presence has been therapeutic." She sighed. "One appearance, that's it." But one appearance became 2, then 3. Marco's nightmares subsided. When Olivia visited, his teacher reported improved participation. Victor began inviting her for dinner weekly, then twice weekly. Marco blossomed under her attention. And Victor changed. Subtle shifts at first, fewer hushed phone calls, more time with his son. Then larger changes. Lorenzo General received an anonymous donation for a new children's wing, a scholarship program for medical students who had to pause their education due to family circumstances. "You're influencing him," Mia observed one night. "The whole city's talking about it. The untouchable woman who tamed Victor Romano." "I haven't tamed anyone," Olivia protested, "and I'm not untouchable." "Really?" "Because Dario Castellano himself apologized to me at the grocery store last week. Said if I ever needed anything, just ask." The Castellano name made Olivia's blood run cold. "What did you say?" "I said my sister and I were fine, thank you," Mia replied. "Then security appeared out of nowhere and escorted me home." Olivia hadn't noticed the security, but she wasn't surprised they were there. Victor's protection continued invisibly. Every time she considered pulling away, creating distance, Marco's face appeared in her mind. The boy who had lost his mother found comfort in her presence and was finally healing. Then there was Victor himself. Over dinners and chess games after Marco went to bed, she glimpsed the man beneath the reputation. Intelligent, driven, haunted by choices that seemed inevitable in his world. "You never wanted this life," she said one evening, watching him stare into the fire. "The family business." Victor looked up, surprised. "How did you know?" "The medical books in your study, the research journals. You wanted to be a doctor." His laugh was hollow. "My father had other plans. Romano men run the family. My brother was supposed to be the doctor." His eyes darkened. "Until the Castellanos killed him, 10 years ago. The same family, different generation." Victor swirled his whiskey. "Endless cycle." "It doesn't have to be," Olivia said quietly. "For Marco." Something shifted in Victor's expression. "No," he agreed. "It doesn't." 2 months after the Halloween incident, Victor invited Olivia to his office downtown, his legitimate business headquarters. She found him standing before floor-to-ceiling windows, surveying the city. "I've made some decisions," he said without turning. "About the future." "Marco's future?" "His, mine." He finally faced her. "Potentially yours, if you're interested." Olivia's heart stuttered. "What are you saying?" "I'm saying I'm transitioning out of certain aspects of the family business, legitimate enterprises only, moving forward." He stepped closer. "I'm saying Marco needs a mother figure, someone he trusts, someone who makes him feel safe." "Victor, I'm saying I've watched you for 2 months, Olivia. Your compassion, your strength, your refusal to be intimidated, even by me." His eyes held hers. "I'm saying I'm falling in love with you, and I think you might feel something too." Before she could respond, the office door burst open. Anthony rushed in, face grim. "Boss, there's been an incident. Marco's school." Victor went perfectly still. "What happened?" "Attempted abduction. Security intervened. Marco's safe but scared, asking for Olivia." The drive to the school was silent, tension vibrating through the car. Olivia's mind raced. This was the reality of Victor's world. Even with his efforts to change, the past wouldn't release its grip easily. Marco sat in the principal's office, a security guard beside him. The moment he saw Olivia, he launched himself into her arms, sobbing. "They tried to take me," he hiccuped against her shoulder. "They said Papa would pay lots of money." Victor knelt beside them, his hand on Marco's back. "No one will ever take you from us, Piccolo, I promise." "Us." The word hung in the air between them. That evening, after Marco finally slept, Olivia found Victor in his study, making calls, issuing orders. His face was that of the Victor Romano everyone feared, cold, dangerous, unstoppable. "You need to leave," he said when he saw her. "Take Mia. Go somewhere far from Lorenzo. This won't stop." "Running isn't the answer," Olivia said. "You can't change the past, but you can change the future. For Marco, for yourself." "At what cost?" Victor's voice cracked. "Today they came for my son. Tomorrow it could be you." Olivia stepped closer. "Then we face it together." "Why would you choose this? Choose me?" His eyes searched hers. "You know what I am, what I've done." "I know who you're trying to become," she corrected. "I know you love your son enough to change everything for him. And I know," she took a breath, "I know I love both of you enough to stay." Victor stared at her, disbelief and hope warring in his expression. Then he pulled her into his arms, his kiss desperate and tender all at once. 1 year later, Olivia stood on the balcony of the Romano mansion, watching children run across the lawn below. Marco's 8th birthday party was in full swing, 20 classmates chasing each other through an elaborate obstacle course. No security visible, though Olivia knew they were there. "Penny for your thoughts," Victor's arms wrapped around her waist from behind. "Just marveling at how much can change in a year," she replied, leaning back against him. And so much had changed. The Romano family still controlled much of Lorenzo, but differently now. Legitimate businesses thrived. The violence had receded. Victor had made peace with rival families, negotiated transitions of power that minimized bloodshed, not without cost. 3 attempts on his life in the past year, 1 on Olivia's. But they'd survived, stronger together than apart. "Marco's teacher says he's top of his class in science," Victor murmured. Says he wants to be a doctor like you. I'm not a doctor yet, Olivia reminded him, though she would be, eventually. She'd re-enrolled in medical school, picking up where she'd left off years ago. Technicality. Victor kissed her temple. You've been healing this family since the moment you found us. Below, Marco spotted them and waved enthusiastically. Mama! Papa! Watch this! He executed a perfect cartwheel, beaming with pride. Mama. The word still sent warmth through Olivia's chest. He'd started calling her that 6 months ago, tentatively at first, then with increasing confidence. The adoption papers were finalized last month, making official what their hearts already knew. Hard to believe it all started with poisoned Halloween candy, Victor said, his voice tight with the memory. And a pharmacy tech with an emergency kit, Olivia added. God, I was terrified that day. Victor's arms tightened around her. When I saw him collapse, I thought I'd lost everything. Instead, you found something else. Olivia turned in his arms, hands resting on his chest. The engagement ring on her finger caught the sunlight, his grandmother's emerald, reset for her. Found someone else, he corrected, someone who saw past the monster everyone feared. I never saw a monster, she said simply. Just a father who would do anything to protect his child. A small voice interrupted them. Mama, Papa, cake time, Marco called from below. Hand in hand, they descended to join the celebration. Lorenzo's most powerful family, transformed not by violence but by love. The city still whispered about them, how Victor Romano had changed after the Halloween incident, how the woman who saved his son had become untouchable, protected by his influence but never corrupted by it, how she had saved them both, in different ways. As Marco blew out his candles, Olivia caught Victor watching her, his eyes soft with wonder. Make a wish, Captain, she called to Marco. The boy grinned. Don't need to. Already got everything. Victor's hand found hers, squeezing gently. In the back of the crowd, Mia stood with Anthony, their own relationship an unexpected development of the past year. Family, Victor murmured. Who would have thought? I knew, Olivia smiled, from that first moment in the hospital when Marco wouldn't let go of my hand. Smart boy, Victor pulled her closer. Like father, like son. The party continued around them, but they remained in their own world for a moment, the former medical student who'd run toward danger rather than away, and the man who'd once been Lorenzo's most feared figure, now its most respected leader. Sometimes saving a life changes everything, including your own. Sometimes the bravest choice leads to the greatest love, and sometimes, even in the darkest city, light finds a way to shine through. This story has come to an end. If it touched your heart in any way, leave your like and share with someone who also enjoys stories of courage and transformation. New stories coming soon. Until next time.